flexibility on switching it from yesterday to today. We had some scheduling conflicts that were unavailable, so definitely appreciate your flexibility with that. My name is Jason Keesaw, and I'm the Training Development Manager with Merit Senior Living. And today's webinar's topic is called Human Truths, and we'll get into that more in just a second. For those of you who are not familiar with Merit Senior Living is an HR company that works with senior living communities all around the country in a variety of capacities. With some of our clients, we partner with their HR professionals and assist them in any manner that we can. And for other clients, we serve as their HR department. So my responsibility falls under the training and development piece of that HR, and work with clients in a variety of areas such as leadership development, workplace communications, hospitality, things of that nature. So to learn more, you can go to meritseniorliving.com or seniorlivingleadership.com, which is the training and development website for Merit Senior Living. All right, our agenda for the day, or for the next 28 minutes here, I would like you to get a pen and paper out, as if you've been on previous webinars where it's been mostly facilitation on my part, we're going to mix it up a little bit today. And when I say we're going to mix it up, we're just going to be doing, when I say we're going to mix it up, we're definitely going to be talking about the human truths, but we're going to jump into some a little bit of an exercise. If any of you saw the Leadership Minute yesterday, or excuse me, on Monday, I talked about an exercise that everybody can do within their communities to elicit conversation and ideas and a whole bunch of great stuff from your staff. So we're going to talk about that today, and really starting with you. So I would like you to have a pen and paper handy. We're going to do a high level on the human truths. What are they exactly? And then we're going to go into a human truths exercise. So during the exercise, I will be asking you to jot some things down on your pieces of paper there. And if you would, after the time is up that I'll give you, if you wouldn't mind sharing in the questions section as well. So we have a pretty cool end result that we'll get to. I don't want to spoil it, but there is a method to my madness here. So exactly what are the human truths? Well, first of all, we talk a lot about meeting and exceeding resident expectations. And as leaders within your community, that certainly takes commitment on you, commitment from you, but it also takes commitment from your staff. And that's really what part of this human truths information and exercise really comes out, is helping your staff articulate what that meeting and exceeding resident expectations means to them, so that they can get involved in the conversation, so they can make more of a commitment to meeting the residents' needs. So commitment starts with you and your staff. So would you agree that every single one of us has personal needs that need to be fulfilled in order for us to live a full and fulfilling life? Would you agree that each of us have personal needs that need to be met for us to live a full and complete life? Whenever I ask this question in groups, everyone shakes their head yes. And it's true. You have specific needs that need to be met. I have specific needs that need to be met if I'm going to reach my potential, live the life I want to live, and have meaning and fulfillment and all that. So if we can agree on that, would you also agree that everybody around you has those same needs? And if you can agree to that, it's reasonable to assume that we can impact those needs being met with everybody, whether it's a resident in your community, an employee that's on your team, the attendant at the gas station, your child's teacher, whoever they are. We have the ability to impact their lives. and we have an ability to contribute to or take away from their personal needs and what is meaningful to them. So we really want to get on this. The conversation is really agreeing that everybody has personal needs. Everybody has needs that need to be met, and we are going to, part of our job is making a commitment to fulfill those needs. You know, that's the first step, I think, in having that empathy, in having that passion, that desire to help the world, is to first recognize that, you know what, there are needs, and we can make a difference. So the 5 human needs, so 5 human truths. The 5 human truths are, just on a very high level, to be understood, to belong, to feel special, to feel in control, and to dream of potential. We all have a need to be understood. We all have a need to have relationships with people that we feel like get us. They have our back, they understand us, they can relate to us. This need to be understood is really the foundation of all the human truths. When we understand that everyone has a need to be understood, we're going to approach the world differently. We're certainly going to approach our residents differently. And when we make a commitment to make them feel understood, it really impacts how we show up. Okay? So the first human truth is we have a need to be understood. Your residents have a need to be understood. We want to belong. We need to belong. We are social creatures, and I don't care how introverted you are, how independent you might be, you still have a need to feel like you belong to something bigger, feel like you belong to a group. So we really want to pay attention to this with people, regardless of how people act and the emotions people can have with different things. I hear stories all the time of residents, especially in some of the senior living communities, the CCRCs. Residents have expectations for how the world should be around them, and a lot of them are paying for that. We want to, regardless of how they show up and how they're communicating, we want to know that they have a need to belong. And the better that we can help them fulfill their needs and these human truths, the better things will be off. So the second one is we want to belong, we need to belong. We have a need to feel special. Your residents have a need to feel special. I'm trying to wean myself off of soda, but I think what Coca-Cola is doing right now is pretty cool. If I came across a bottle of Coke that has Jason on it, I'd probably buy it. Just because it's needed. And I know what they're doing. It's all very intentional, but it's still, because it has my name on it, it makes me feel special. I don't know who Kylie is, right? So, but I'm guessing Kylie would feel special too. But we all have a need to feel special, so what little things can be done to make people feel special, to make our residents feel special, our team members feel special, etc. Because little acts can go a long way. So we have a need to feel special, the third human truth. We have a need to be in control. Imagine a world where you feel like you don't have options, where you feel like you are restricted and your hands are tied. That would not be fun, right? It wouldn't be fun for us, and it would not be fun for anybody else who felt like they did not have options. And I know sometimes in the communities, depending on what the situations are with the residents, they may not feel like they have a lot of control. Being independent all your life, and going from a very free environment to what could be perceived as a different culture with a different set of rules, it could have some impact on their emotions, their moods, their fulfillment, all that. Recognizing that, we can start to approach them in helping them feel like they are in control. So we want to, we have a need to be in control. The residents need to feel like they are in control with things. And then the final one, we have a need to reach our potential. And this is purpose, passion, dreaming, whatever it is. Again, imagine a life where you might want something out of the world, but you don't feel like you have the ability to not necessarily even achieve it, but go for it, right? So recognizing that every human being has a need to reach their potential, we can approach them differently. We can listen to them differently. We can offer different perspective on things that will contribute to and add value to what they're trying to get out of the world. So we have a need to reach our potential. So what can you do to satisfy your residents' human truths? Think about that for a moment. What can you do to satisfy your residents' human truths? Now, what we're going to do for the next few minutes is we're going to start this activity. And as I talked about in the Leadership Minute, and if you've had me out for training, I try to do the same thing within the communities that I visit, and that's to create a conversation. Well, right now, we're going to try to create a conversation among ourselves with the resources we have available, which is what this GoToMeeting offers. Unfortunately, the GoToMeeting doesn't allow a mass chat board for everyone to communicate with each other, so I will do my best at facilitating what everybody is communicating. And in that spirit, you have a questions field within your options there. So if rather than asking, feel free to ask a question if you wish, but rather than asking a question, make your comments in there if you so desire to. But what we're going to do is we're going to, for the next, we're going to take each of the human needs, and for about a minute each, I want you to, on your sheet of paper, jot down the need in a corner, and then just start for a minute, start writing down as many things as you can. It's an interesting perspective to look at things this way. When you start with the end result in mind and what you're trying to accomplish, the creativity and innovation that happens within your mind with coming up with solutions and identifying things that can realistically be done to make things happen. So what can you do to satisfy your residents' human truths? So first of all, for the next minute, I want you to think about and write down, how can you help your residents feel understood? How can you help your residents feel understood? And I'll give you a minute. Go. Ten seconds. And stop. If you would, in the questions field, share with, if you'd be willing to share with me some of the things that you came up with, to how you and your team can make your residents feel understood. How can you and your residents, or how can you and your team make your residents feel understood, with that being one of the human truths? Some of the answers we typically get with this, getting to know residents during the sales process, making sure you have good communication, you're listening, personal interaction, active listening, allowing various groups and committees actively listen, awesome. Allowing residents to create various groups and committees to collaborate and have a voice. Resident happy hours or different resident activities such as that. Making sure leadership and directors are accessible to the residents can help them feel understood. Regular feedback, absolutely. Annual surveys, comment cards, and being flexible with them can all help your residents feel understood. The second human truth. How can you and your team help residents feel like they belong? How can you and your team help residents feel like they belong? And go. 10 seconds. And stop. All right. So what did you write down? How can you and your team help your residents feel like they belong? If you would put that in the questions section. Some answers we frequently hear, providing a welcoming community, having various events to almost like social networking, but for residents to get to know each other. Pairing residents up with one another for various things. One-on-one visits with residents, town hall meetings. Giving them privacy and respect, make them feel like they belong, make them feel comfortable within their environment. So how can you and your team help residents feel like they belong? The next human need. How can you help your residents feel special? How can you help your residents feel special? I'll give you a minute and go. Ten seconds. And stop. How can you and your staff help residents feel special? Make them feel like individuals special. Some of the things we've heard in the past are graduation certificates from various things. Allowing the residents to teach, to do various classes. I was working with one community in Indiana where the ED was trying to pair up residents that had experience in the different goals that the staff had. So if one of the staff members or one of the team members had a goal of buying a house, well, who within the resident base had experience with financial planning or something of that nature, they can contribute to that. A resident wanted to write a screenplay about their brother. Well, the ED executive director said, which one of my residents were involved in theater, right? So trying to give meaning to the residents, make them feel special. How can you help your residents feel like they have control? How can you help your residents feel like they have control? And go. And as you're writing them down, if you want to put them in the questions field as you're writing them down, that's fine as well. Ten seconds. And stop. So how can you help your residents feel like they have control within your community? We've had people put down allowing them to have committees and councils, allowing them to have choices with activities, arts and crafts, opportunity to express their faith, functional fitness programs, options, 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 menus. So we want them to feel like they have control within their environment there. And finally, how can you help your residents reach their potential? How can you and your team within your community help your residents reach their potential? Ten seconds. And remember to utilize the questions pane, the questions window to submit if you want to comment. And stop. So think about what ways you can help your residents reach their potential. So we want to do this for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is one, to identify and articulate the human truths, because they are important and they are meaningful, and paying attention to them will produce positive results. It can also allow us to articulate what we are doing very well within our communities to meet the human truths, but also brainstorm some things that we may have never thought of in order to implement some things to meet the human truths. But it takes a certain type of person, it takes a certain type of team member to make this stuff a priority and to care and to have this top of mind all the time. So right now what I want you to do is I want you to think about what kind of team member it takes to make human truths a priority. What kind of team member? When I'm asking what kind of team member, what are those positive traits, those positive characteristics, those descriptors that make people make this a priority? Think about your best team member that has the best relationships, best results with the residents. How would you describe them? How would you describe them? And as we go through the different human truths there, we'll take about 30 seconds for each, but I want you to think about, just be thinking about those positive traits, those positive characteristics that have to show up within your community for you to meet and exceed your resident expectations. So describe team members that make residents feel understood. Take about 30 seconds for that. Describe team members that make residents feel like they are understood. And you can continue to add things into the question panel as you're thinking of them. Next, describe team members that make residents feel like they belong. What kind of team members make residents feel like they belong? Describe team members that make your residents feel special. And as you're going through this, you may be identifying similar characteristics for each, and that's okay. Describe team members that make your residents feel like they have control. And finally, describe team members that help your residents reach their potential. Describe team members that help your residents reach their potential. All right, great. So if you were actively going through this exercise, you should have, 5 human truths. Did you come up with 3 to 5 descriptors or descriptions for each of the human truths? You could have 25 to 50 different positive descriptions, positive character traits that describe how team members meet and help meet resident needs and fulfill the human truths. Out of all the words you wrote down, out of all the positive traits and characteristics you wrote down, what are your top 5? What are the top 5 that you wrote down that are absolutely crucial to you meeting the human truths and meeting and exceeding your residents' needs? Out of everything you wrote down, what are your top 5? And if you'd be willing to share your top 5, please put them in the questions field. Top 5 traits that, with no doubt in your mind, if you were able to show up with these traits and characteristics every single day, if your team members were able to show up with these characteristics and traits every single day, you would, no doubt in your mind, meet and exceed resident expectations. Two weeks ago, I had an opportunity to spend 2 days with an organization in Ohio that works in the senior living space and is responsible for meeting and exceeding resident expectations. And we did a number of trainings that ended with this exercise. And this is kind of cool. As an organization has 40 to 50 team members within it. This is what they came up with. They came up with to consistently meet and exceed residents' expectations. They must be empathetic, they must be patient, they must be knowledgeable, they must be innovative, and they must be a good listener. So in order to consistently meet and exceed resident expectations, team members must be empathetic, patient, knowledgeable, innovative, and a good listener. Now, when I took this organization through this exercise, I did it in 3 different teams that have different responsibilities. And each of the teams came up with their own list of 5. And these were the 5 out of the 3 teams that jumped out the most, that were the most consistent. So as an organization, this is now their values and how they work with their residents. Okay? So they are committing to becoming empathetic, patient, knowledgeable, innovative, and a good listener. What 5 did you come up with? What 5 do you need to show up with? So what I did is once they identified their 5, I took their top 5 and I created what's called a word cloud with it. And you can see these are some of the other words that they identified that they needed to show up with every single day to meet and exceed their resident expectations. And the 5 that I just talked about, the empathetic, patient, knowledgeable, innovative, and a good listener, are the ones who are most consistent and most agreed upon. But they are implementing these traits or these values within their organization. It's becoming a part of their culture that this is how they meet and exceed resident expectations every single day. and this is going to be something that's going to be shared with an entire company, the entire organization. It's going to be something that is emphasized with every single new team member that they bring on. It's going to be part of their recruitment and interview process, that they're looking for individuals that that are able to show up with these traits. So this stuff is good for personal accountability, but it's also it really describes how a culture needs to behave to be successful. So if you identified your top 5 and you would like me to do something like this for you, please email me your top 5. And my email address is right here, jasonkeesau@meritresources.com. And I will respond back to you with your word cloud in somewhat of an efficient manner. So I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours of you sending it to me. So the concept of human truths is not difficult to understand, right? It could be common sense to meet those needs. Understanding them and executing them are 2 different things. So part of the exercise today was articulating how you within your community could meet those human truths, the realistic things you can do that will lead to the human truths being met, but every action is a result of an attitude, right? So what kind of attitude do you need to show up with, do team members need to show up with in order to make sure that you're executing those actions consistently, so you're consistently meeting the human truths and meeting and exceeding those resident expectations. So appreciate everybody's time and attention today over the past 33 minutes. My name is Jason Keesau, Talent and Development Manager with Merit Senior Living. If you have any questions, please send me an email at jasonkeesau@meritresources.com. Thanks for your time, and we hope that you'll join us for another free 30-minute webinar in 2 weeks. Thank you.